Pearl Harbor, Hawaii, December 7th, 1941. Through the porthole of Turret 4, Seaman Stephen Young watches the harbor water lie perfectly still, like glass stretched too tight, and realizes with cold certainty that something terrible is about to break. Welcome to the War Maestro's Archive, where tonight we descend into the steel tomb of the USS Oklahoma and discover that some men drown in darkness long before the water reaches their lungs. The USS Oklahoma sits at Berth Fox 5 on Battleship Row this Sunday morning. She is a Nevada-class battleship, 25 years old, 583 feet of American steel, 27,000 tons of firepower. She is moored outboard of the USS Maryland. This position makes her the first target, the most exposed, the most vulnerable. No torpedo nets protect her hull. The Navy deemed them unnecessary in peacetime. This decision will kill 429 men in the next hour. Across Ford Island, mechanics are preparing for Monday's inspection, Admiral's inspection, the kind that ends careers if a single rivet is out of place. So the hatches are open, the watertight doors are unsealed, the ventilation shafts are accessible. The ship is breathing. She does not know she is about to drown. Below deck in the powder handling room of turret number 4, 19-year-old Stephen Bauer Young is losing an argument about baseball. His buddy John Gersovich, age 20, insists the Red Sox will never win another World Series. Young argues back, but his heart is not in it. Something feels wrong. The harbor is too quiet. No birds, no waves lapping against the hull. Just silence, stretched thin like wire about to snap. Young checks his watch. 7:48 a.m. The second hand stops moving. He taps the crystal. The watch stays frozen. 7:48 and 12 seconds. The second hand quivers, but does not advance. You hear that? Gurkovich asks. Young listens, hears nothing, then realizes that is exactly the problem. The constant background hum of the ship, the generators, the ventilation, the distant voices, all of it has gone silent. Not quiet, silent. The kind of silence that comes right before something breaks. General quarters! The alarm screams through the ship like a dying animal. Young runs, down the ladder, 3 decks below the waterline. His battle station is the powder handling room. His job is to feed 14-inch shells to the guns above. 11 men total in turret 4. They will never fire a single shot. The first torpedo hits at 7:50 a.m. Young feels it through his boots. A shockwave that rattles his teeth and makes his bones vibrate. The deck tilts. 10 degrees, 20 degrees. His stomach lurches. Second torpedo. The lights flicker. Someone says, Jesus Christ, but Young cannot tell who. The deck is now a wall. Third torpedo. Fourth. Fifth. The USS Oklahoma is rolling over like a dying whale. Young grabs a pipe as gravity betrays him. Water erupts from a ventilation shaft. The emergency lights give one last amber gasp. Then darkness. Complete darkness. Young is thrown against what was the ceiling. His shoulder breaks something. He does not know if it is bone or steel. Both feel the same right now. 11 minutes after the attack began, the USS Oklahoma comes to rest on the bottom of Pearl Harbor, upside down, 350 degrees rolled, her starboard propeller pointing at the sky like a gravestone. In the absolute darkness of Turret 4, Stephen Young realizes he is still breathing. He wishes he was not, because now he has to count how many breaths he has left. The darkness is total, not dim. Total. The kind of darkness that makes you doubt you still have eyes. Young's voice cracks. Sound off. 11 voices answer from the black. 11 men alive in a space meant for equipment, not survival. The compartment is maybe 12 feet by 8 feet. Now it is their entire universe. They are standing on the ceiling. The floor, the real floor, is somewhere above them in the dark, covered in seawater and fuel oil. Someone finds a battle lantern. The beam cuts through the blackness. What they see makes no sense. Pipes that should run horizontal now run vertical. Hatches that opened up now open sideways into walls of seawater. Everything is wrong. Geometry itself has betrayed them. Walter Staff, a carpenter's mate, tries the escape hatch. It opens 2 inches. Water pressure slams it shut with a clang that echoes like a coffin lid. The arithmetic is simple, brutal. 11 men, 1 sealed compartment, no way out. They have the air that is already here. Nothing more. Young's high school physics class comes back to him, the one he barely passed. An average man breathes roughly 11,000 liters of air per day. They have maybe 300 cubic meters of space. 11 men. Simple math. 24 hours, maybe less. The fuel oil is everywhere, on their skin, in their mouths. Every breath tastes like diesel and death. The smell triggers nausea. One man vomits, then another, using up precious oxygen in violent retching. The sound echoes in the darkness, wet, horrible. Someone says, "We're gonna die in here." Nobody contradicts him. The silence that follows is worse than the words. Young finds a wrench in the darkness. His hand closes around cold metal, and he begins to bang. 3 short, 3 long, 3 short. SOS, SOS, SOS. The sound rings through the steel tomb. In the darkness, they take turns, 5 minutes each, arms burning, hope fading with every unanswered beat. Above them, the harbor is chaos, ships burning, men screaming, bodies floating in water slicked with oil and blood. Nobody is listening for tapping. Nobody is coming. Young bangs the wrench until his hands bleed. The rhythm never changes. 3 short, 3 long, 3 short. It is the only thing he can control. The only thing that feels like fighting back, even though he knows deep in his gut that they are already dead. They just have not stopped breathing yet. 3 decks up, Father Aloysius Schmidt is drowning. The 32-year-old Catholic chaplain had just finished 7 a.m. Mass when the torpedoes hit. Now he is trapped in a compartment with 12 other men. The water is already chest deep, rising. There is one way out. A porthole, 18 inches across, barely wide enough for a man's shoulders. Father Schmidt begins pushing men through. 1, 2, 3. Go! Go! 4, 5. The water is at their necks now. 6, 7. 8 men are out. Now it is Schmidt's turn. He pushes his head through. His shoulders. He is stuck, wedged in steel like a cork in a bottle. The men outside grab his arms and pull. Then Father Schmidt hears them. More men coming into the compartment behind him, drawn by the voices, hoping for escape. The water is at chin level now. According to Commander Jesse Kenworthy's official testimony, one of the men pulling Schmidt through, the chaplain makes eye contact, makes a decision. "Push me back," Schmidt says. "There are others." "Father, we can get you through." "Push me back." That's an order. They push him back. Father Schmidt helps 4 more men through the porthole. 12 men total saved by his hands. Then the water covers the opening completely. The last thing the survivors hear is Father Aloysius Schmidt giving them his blessing, his voice calm, steady, like he is back in Iowa, saying grace over Sunday dinner. He drowns 3 feet from freedom, holding a porthole open for strangers. His body will not be found for 3 years. When they do, his prayer book is still in his pocket. The pages fused together by seawater and time. The words illegible. but the prayers were answered anyway. 12 men lived because one man chose to die. In turret 4, Young hears none of this. He only knows the darkness, the tapping, the taste of fuel oil. He does not know that 3 decks up, a man just proved that even in hell, some souls still choose heaven. He keeps tapping. 3 short, 3 long, 3 short. Nobody answers. Hour 6, turret 4. Young's arms feel like lead. The air has taken on a metallic taste. Not just the fuel oil, something else, something wrong. Carbon dioxide is building. Every breath is work now. They have stopped talking to conserve oxygen. They sit in darkness, taking turns with the wrench. Tap, tap, tap. Nobody is coming. Then, a faint answering tap from outside. Stop! Shut up! Listen! Someone is out there. The men explode into action, tapping harder, faster, screaming until their throats tear. Young pounds the wrench until his hands bleed. We're here! We're in here! Outside the USS Oklahoma, on the exposed hull, civilian shipyard worker Julio De Castro presses his ear to the metal. He hears them. De Castro is a Hawaiian local, a caulker and chipper. He was not supposed to be here. He heard about the attack on the radio and drove straight to Pearl Harbor. While smoke still rises from the Arizona, while bodies still float in the harbor, De Castro walks the hull of the overturned Oklahoma, listening for the dead to tell him they are alive. He gathers tools, cutting torches, pneumatic hammers, ship blueprints borrowed from USS Maryland. 20 civilian yard workers volunteer. They set to work under the glow of the still-burning Arizona. Inside, Young hears them. The sound of cutting, metal on metal. Hope sounds like a jackhammer. But then, the cutting releases an air pocket. The trapped air escapes through the fresh holes. The water level inside begins to rise. Stop! Stop cutting! We're flooding! Young and his crew frantically plug the holes with rags, shirts, anything. The water rises from ankle deep to knee deep in seconds. Outside, De Castro hears their screams, understands the nightmare he is creating. Every cut he makes to save them brings water rushing in. But without cutting, they will suffocate. The cutting stops. For 8 hours, De Castro and his team study the blueprints by flashlight, calculating which cuts will free the men before the water kills them. It is surgery by sledgehammer. One wrong cut, one miscalculation, and they will drown the very men they are trying to save. Inside turret 4, the men sit in knee-deep water, in the dark, listening to silence. The hope is worse than the despair. Hour 18. The air is soup now, thick, wrong. Every breath is like sucking through a wet cloth. Young's headache feels like his skull is cracking from the inside. Carbon dioxide poisoning. One man has stopped responding. He sits in the water, eyes open, breathing but not seeing. His name is George. He is 21 years old. He will not live to see 22. The cutting begins again. 21-year-old Joe Bulgo operates a pneumatic chisel outside, cutting a rectangular hole through double-layered battleship steel, 1 inch thick, 4 feet tall, 3 feet wide. He has to cut 3 sides, leave the 4th as a hinge. If he cuts all 4 sides, the steel panel falls inward, into the water, creating a wave that drowns everyone. 1 hour of continuous cutting. His hands are numb. His shoulders are screaming. The noise is apocalyptic, a shrieking, grinding roar that echoes across Pearl Harbor. Inside, Young watches the water rise. Knee-deep, thigh-deep. The air hisses out through the growing cut. The water rises faster. Waist-deep. Someone starts praying the Lord's Prayer. Others join in. Catholic, Protestant, Jewish. It does not matter now. The water does not care what God you believe in. Chest deep. Young can see the rectangular cut forming in the beam of their dying battle lantern. 3 sides. 3 sides. Just 3 sides. The water reaches his armpits. "Hurry up! Burn us out!" Young screams. DeCastro's voice muffled through steel. "We can't! You'd suffocate!" "Oh Lord, we'll drown if you don't." Neck deep. George, the catatonic one, slips under. Young grabs him, holds his head above water. George's eyes are empty. His breathing is shallow. Bulgo completes the 3rd side. "Look out for your hands, boys!" Bulgo screams. He swings a sledgehammer. The metal panel bends inward, still attached at the top. Just as planned. The water surges through. But there is a gap just big enough. "Go! Go! Go!" Young pushes George through first, then the others. One by one, they scramble through the opening, guided by hands they cannot see. Young goes last. His broken shoulder grinds against steel. The pain is exquisite. He does not care. They emerge onto the exposed hull 25 hours and 37 minutes after the Oklahoma capsized. The sun is so bright it feels like an attack. Young falls to his knees and vomits fuel oil onto American steel. He is alive. 32 men escaped the USS Oklahoma. 429 did not. For 3 more days, DeCastro's team hears tapping from inside the ship. Desperate, rhythmic, growing weaker. They try, God, they try. But some compartments are too deep. Others are flooded. Some are accessible, but every cut they make creates a rush of water that drowns the men they are trying to save. On December 10th, the tapping stops. According to the official Navy salvage report, when they finally raised the Oklahoma in 1943, they found 3 sailors in an airtight storeroom, emergency rations partially eaten, a flashlight, dead, and a calendar. Someone had marked off the days in red pencil. December 7th, December 8th, December 9th, all the way to December 23rd. 16 days. 16 days in absolute darkness, in a tomb of steel, knowing no one was coming. 16 days of air slowly going bad. 16 days of writing letters that would never be sent. The Navy never released their names. Their families were told they died in the attack. Not that they died 2 weeks later, alone in the dark, counting their heartbeats and wondering when the air would finally run out. Stephen Young lives to be 95 years old. He writes a book, gives speeches, but he never sleeps well. Never in the dark, always with a light on. Because he knows what darkness really is. He knows what it sounds like when hope dies. In 1947, while being towed to a scrapyard in California, the USS Oklahoma encounters a storm. The cables snap. She sinks. 700 miles northeast of Oahu, in water 3 miles deep, the Oklahoma comes to rest on the Pacific floor. Her exact coordinates were never recorded. Somewhere in that darkness, in that tomb we built and then lost, 429 men still remain. The Navy declared the wreck unrecoverable, too deep, too expensive, too painful. The Oklahoma stays where she fell, upside down in the dark, the way she died, the way they died. Today, at Pearl Harbor, there is a memorial on Ford Island. 429 white marble posts, one for each man who died when the Oklahoma capsized. Their names carved in stone, standing where the ship once moored, right next to where the USS Missouri sits now, the ship where Japan surrendered, ending the war the Oklahoma never got to fight. If you visit, look for the names. Father Aloysius Schmidt, age 32, the chaplain who pushed himself back into the flood so 12 strangers could live. Seaman First Class John England, age 20, who earned the Medal of Honor for keeping the lights on until the ship went over, giving others time to escape. Fireman Third Class John Gurkovich, age 20, Stephen Young's friend, the one who never got to see if the Red Sox would win. 429 names. 429 men who drowned in air, suffocated in water, died in darkness, in a ship that became their tomb. Remember them. Not because they died heroically. Most did not have the chance. Remember them because they died terribly. In the dark, upside down, trapped. And somewhere, 3 miles down, in a darkness deeper than any they knew in life, the Oklahoma is still there. Still upside down. Still holding her dead. Still waiting to be found. The tapping stopped on December 10th, 1941, but if you listen closely at the memorial, on quiet mornings when the wind is still and the harbor lies flat like glass, some visitors swear they hear it. 3 short taps, 3 long, 3 short. SOS, SOS, SOS. A message in a bottle sent from the deep. A plea that will echo forever, unanswered, in the dark waters where 429 American sailors still wait for rescue that will never come. The War Maestro closes this chapter of the archive, but the Oklahoma story is not over. It cannot be over. Not while they are still down there, still tapping, still waiting, still hoping someone will hear. If this tale from the War Maestro Archive left you trapped in its grip, surface for air and join our ranks. Check your watch, make sure it's still moving, and subscribe to dive deeper into these sunken military histories. Hit that notification bell. You'll want to know when the next distress signal reaches shore. Share this story with those who understand that the most terrifying horrors aren't fiction. They're documented, verified, real, and they're still happening 3 miles down in the dark. In the comments below, tell me, have you visited the USS Oklahoma Memorial at Pearl Harbor? Or do you know a family story from that day that history never recorded? The archive is always listening for voices that need to be heard. Remember, some men are still tapping. The question is, are you listening?